Howdy y'all, welcome back to another Sims 4 video. I'm Meg and I like weird bugs. So I figured it's time to do a walkthrough for collecting insects in Granite Falls. I'll show you exactly where to find all 21 of them and go home with a magical wonderful prize of aquariums full of fantastical and sometimes grotesque little bundles of joy. Well, first and foremost, important thing to remember is some of these bugs are flying and some are crawling. The crawlers are a lot harder to spot in my opinion. They also range from common to uncommon to rare, and they show up at different times of the day in different spots around Granite Falls. Location-wise, you can stay anywhere, but I always just choose the campgrounds because I'm standing on business. This ain't no holiday. So the three main places to find insects is the campgrounds, which, hey, look, we're already there. Efficiency. The forest and the deep woods. And most importantly, you obviously need the outdoor retreat pack to be able to collect these insects. Let's go! So here we are at the campground and don't be scared, little darling. It's just insects. I'm just kidding. I know she's scared because of the thunder. So where you can find your collections is in your inventory box, and there's 43 household collections in total. We are obviously focusing on insects, but hopefully we'll be able to collect all 43 collections at some point. So here you can see all 21 of them, and obviously the range, like I said before, from common to uncommon to rare. So now we just gotta find these beauties. Okay, so here we are in a thunderstorm, by the way, collecting bugs. Not a lot of people can say that they know how to do that. Here in the campgrounds, you have this like center section where the big statue is, and there's a few little areas like campfires with benches. But the main spot you need to remember is this lavatory, the bathroom that's northeast, southwest, northwest of the little activity area. There's always bugs. Like always. You'll always find something. Right across from it by that lantern and the little bushes where the rock is, you'll always find a bug there. So the first bug we're going to find is Jezebel butterfly, which is, ironically, right here by this lantern. Now Jezebel butterflies, fun fact, are known for their fashion powered by spite and poison because they get their bright colors from toxic plants they eat as caterpillars. And there we can see in our household collection our very first bug that we collected. How exciting! Then our next bug is going to be bees. Now I don't know about you, but I really love bees. Well, I guess most people are scared of them, so don't answer that question. But bees can actually recognize human faces, so remember that next time you're mean to a bee, it'll come back for sweet, sweet vengeance. And the bees you can find in the campgrounds. Kind of in the middle of this whole cabin section, right by that stump, rock, and lantern. I think these are really good markers for everyone to find them. But yeah, so that's where you can find the bees. Bzz, bzz. Then we're going into locusts. So locusts are usually in the same spot, but you do have to go on quite a search. So you see that rock formation there at the top. Try and zoom in like right below, and then on the right side you can also see one of the cabins and a little picnic area. Just zoom straight into the center and whoop, there they are. Also the locusts I know are like a sign of doom, but they are pretty cool in the game when they fly around like that. Then we've got dragonfly. They're always found in the same spot, which is by this waterfall in the forest. You can just zoom in there, and they're always pretty easy to spot, but they're pretty hard to find because they don't show up all the time. So sometimes you gotta stand there for days on end and hope, or you gotta leave and then go back on vacation, which I've also done a few times, and then you'll usually find them on like the second or the third try. So just keep a lookout. I was pretty lucky this time. Then right across from the waterfall, if you go like along the river, there's these like trees here, and that's where you can find dragonflies. They usually hang out around here. You'll see also there in the distance are some more monarch butterflies, but the nice thing about this area is there's always bugs. Not necessarily always these bugs, but you'll always find them spawning in these three spots. So be sure to come back and check on the regular for new insects you might need. Now onto the monarch butterflies. Want another fun fact? Well, you're getting one anyway. So monarch butterflies migrate thousands of kilometers across generations. None of them have ever really been there before. They're just, well, vibing on instinct. And you know what? I can relate to that. Now that we've got this strip of bugs, yeah girl, get that braid, we can go into the deep woods. So if you follow that rock formation vertically from where the river is, and you zoom in right at the circle of rocks here, you should be able to see a little entrance which will take you into the deep woods. But before we actually go in there, there's also this little patch of sand across from it where you'll always find bugs. And in this case, it was termites. We found termites. So gross. There you go. So just collect those termites, and I don't know if you spotted it, but there's some mosquitoes also right there. We are not here for those mosquitoes. We are here for the termites. So let's go into the deep woods. So you're going to want to click on that entrance and say explore. And what will happen next is there's going to be a few pop-ups of questions that you need to answer. They will be different every time, but in this case it is step forward and then keep walking or fish. Keep walking girl. And then ignore the object, never take the object. And then travel towards the summit, which is our final thing to get into the deep woods. And once we are there, we're going to start looking for the bugs that we can only find in the deep woods, like jewel beetles. I actually think you can find jewel beetles in the forest, but this is a nice prime spot to find them. And they're also actually one of the prettiest insects in the game, so how lucky are we to find them? And they look great in the aquarium, which if you stay until the end, you'll actually see what all these bugs look like on display. And then we're gonna get some lunar moths. Now when the river's on your left, just zoom in to the big rock and they'll be right over there. Do you want to know a fun fact about lunar moths? Of course you do. They don't have mouths and they never eat as adults, which means they just perish from starvation. How lovely is that? Okay, then blue morpho butterflies, also in the deep woods. You can find them by this nice little selection of lavender plants. Yo, I really hope that's lavender. And then the will-o'-the-wisp, you can only find at night. By the way, very difficult to find will-o'-the-wisp. And the fact that we got this on the first try blew my mind. It's also one of the few insects that's kind of mythical. Then fireflies, also nighttime, deep woods. If you see that island, you'll know you're in the right spot. Just zoom in and you'll find them right there. Then we're gonna get some katydids. Now, not a fun fact, but katydids are definitely my favorite insect to collect in The Sims 4. I don't know why, it's just, I think it's the name. It's just such a fun thing to say. Katydid, katydid, katydid. See how many times you can say it fast. But you can find them right there in the forest. They're just so green and luscious. Yeah, girl, get that insect. Then we've got ladybugs. Ladybugs and bees are always in this area by the bathroom where the lantern is. Like I said, if you go to the lantern, if you go to that waterfall area, you'll always find a bug there of some kind. But the ladybugs usually just hang out, and especially at night, they hang out here by this lavatory in the campgrounds. So you can see that area. There's the statue. Now we're gonna look for mosquitoes. So mosquitoes are also in the campground. There's the statue, there's the cabins, there's the little stream. Then just zoom in, and you should be able to find them right there by that frog collection stump. What do you even call it? A burrow, maybe? I don't know, but there's the mosquitoes. And if you remember earlier, we can also find mosquitoes by the entrance to the deep woods. So if you don't find them here, just go look for them there. Then we've got rainbow fireflies, basically the bougie version of regular fireflies. And they are also close to the stream in the forest. But They're like the one bug you can almost find anywhere, so just keep walking around at night and you should eventually happen upon them on your voyage. Then we've got walking sticks, so to the left of the little house, you can actually see these rocks form a heart. Isn't that cute? Also, love walking sticks. I'm obsessed with walking sticks. And they do look really cool in the game, and they look even cooler in your aquarium when you have collected them. Next we get dust spirits. Now dust spirits are not a real bug. So if you thought they were, joke's on you. I'm just kidding. There was a moment where even I was like, are dust spirits a real bug? Apparently they're not. Apparently they're inspired by folklore. And it's essentially tiny spirits that lived in abandoned places in the spot that someone died. So next time you collect a dust spirit, think about the fact that you're probably walking in the same spot that someone sadly perished. So be careful. Then we've got mantis. It's a praying mantis. I don't know what the plural is for that, but you know, YOLO. Fun fact about praying mantis, they can turn their heads 180 degrees. You can also find them close to that little camping area you just saw in the forest. But be careful, because if they can turn their head 180 degrees, they're always watching. Then we've got fire ants. Again, we're back at the famous campground's lavatory. Like I said, you can always find something at the lavatory. So the fire ants freak me out. Have you ever been bitten by a fire ant? Because I have, very, very long ago, but it is not a fun experience. So, fun fact about fire ants, they can actually build a living raft by locking their bodies together during floods. How fun. And finally, we've got our stink bugs, and you can find them right there in the forest. In that spot. Oh, look at those two little bushes. So look for the two little bushes and the big rock, and it's close to the cabin, I guess. Stink bugs are by far the hardest to catch in The Sims, because this was my 4th try, because they obviously like let out an odor which makes you not able to catch them. But here we go. This is all the bugs. Here they are in our aquarium. I'm gonna try use the same sim to like collect everything, like do all the collections. But they look so cute. Oh, look at them. Oh, look, there's the praying mantis and the jewel beetle. Ooh, and the dragonfly and the dust spirits and the will-o-wisp. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and let me know what else you want me to collect or any other things you want to see, tutorials. Just let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!